What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you all are doing well today. And to all my new supporters joining us today, welcome to the family. Welcome to the family. Now, I couldn't wait to jump right into this video, man. Everybody, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and turn all post notifications on. I would have posted this video yesterday, but I had strep throat, guys. I don't know if it was really strep throat. Maybe it was just a bad case of sore throat. But I was feeling a little down under the weather, but we are blessed to see another day, and I am healthy and awake, and I am physically and mentally able to give you guys the best quality. So here we are today. So we got conservative leader Pierre Poilievre loses seat he held since 2004? 2004, guys. You must have had a grudge against this man. I mean, come on now. A lot of people in the comments have been telling me for the longest that you guys wanted him out of his seat for the longest. And you guys wanted Mark Carney. Look, not my words, y'all words. So let's go ahead and jump right into this article before we jump right into the actual video. Oh boy, this is a sad case. I mean, his time has come. Canada's conservative leader, Pierre Poilievre, has lost his own seat in the country's general election. In a stunning blow for the 45-year-old career politician who until recently had been widely expected to become the country's next prime minister. That's what I was thinking. But hey, I guess we have something different in mind. Although conservatives increased both their seat count and vote share, Mark Carney's Liberal Party secured control of Parliament. Oh, I was keeping track of the polls as well, guys. I was keeping track of the voting polls. Don't think I was just at home chilling with my feet kicked up. I was staying up to date with this whole election. And a lot of you would probably be like, why would you choose to tune into this election? Is because it's one of the greatest ones ever. That's why. Now, I know I could have, checked out multiple other elections. But this one right here is probably one of the most fascinating ones. I mean, can we all agree? And Poilievre's defeat in the Carleton election district is certain to fuel mounting questions over his future as party leader. I mean, what happens next for him? That's what I've been thinking about. What happens next for this man? I mean, he's had this seat since 2004. He's grandfathered in. So just for him to get kicked out, it's like, whoa. Once considered a long shot, the Liberal Party candidate Bruce Fanjoy flipped the Carleton riding with Poilievre's had held for 7 consecutive elections. The two men were among 91 candidates on the ballot, most of whom were part of the protest calling for election reform. Get out of here. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into this next article because I don't really want to waste too much time. And I want to see what Mark Carney has to say towards our current president, our former U.S. president, Donald J. Trump. So we'll be taking a look at Mark Carney's and Pierre Poilievre's policies, which the people have agreed on. So we got Carney, Poilievre, we got providing funding for apprenticeships. Hey, look, come on, providing funding for apprenticeships. Guys, I am currently in electrical residential school right now, tech school to be exact. So just to hear that, he wanted to fund for apprenticeships really blew my mind. And I was like, hey, I'm all in for that right there. I'm all in. Expanding eligibility for dental care to include coverage for those 18 or 64? My man. That's great, actually. But this is only Carney's idea, okay? This was only his idea right here. The first one was Carney and Poilievre's. Now we have both of them, Carney and Poilievre, reducing income taxes. Beautiful. We all know them housing taxes cost the most. That's why people be joining that military. Yeah. No housing taxes will really... It makes a big difference. It really makes a big difference, guys. So we got... The next three are just Carney's. We got creating an entity to oversee the construction of affordable housing, yes. Providing consumer incentives for more environmentally friendly choices, yes. The votings are high for these. No. Providing $25 billion in financing to help build homes. We do need more homes. Yes, we do. Let's start building more homes and providing more job opportunities, especially for the ones that are homeless. Let's stop building shelters because they get kicked out anyway. Then they got to come back by a certain time to cover their spot just to sleep. Let's provide more jobs and let's build more houses. That way people can afford housing. And yeah, let's make the housing more affordable, eh? Please. I'm pretty sure in the 80s, the 90s, people could probably move out and get them a little apartment or something, $500 rent or something, $500 a month, most likely. Now you're crazy. It's about $1,800 to $2,000, maybe more, monthly, and that's not even all the expenses. So we got Poilievre removing the sales tax on all new homes under 1.3 million, capping pollution from the oil and gas sector. We have both of them, Carney and Poilievre, building new oil, natural gas pipelines. Okay, I mean, that could help. Poilievre reducing federal spending on foreign aid. Carney maintaining current caps on immigration. Don't tell our president that. We got Carney and Poilievre increasing defense spending to reach NATO's target of 2% of Canada's GDP. Yes. I'm glad they both had that in mind because Canada does need help and they do need to be able to just weigh out to that 2%. At least. Poilievre trying Canada's population growth rate to a level below the number of new homes built. Forgive me if my voice sounds weird, guys. My voice sounds kind of awkward right now. Is it the headset? My voice sounds weird. I'm getting over a cold. I got allergies going crazy and stuffy nose, but it's not going to slow us down. Carney and Poilievre reducing capital gains taxes. Poilievre trying federal funding for cities to the number of housing constructions. Poilievre cutting $2 for every $1 in new administrative cost. I'm gonna have to think about that one. Carney buying back guns because you guys was helping Ukraine out for a while and you guys was sending over your guns, sending over your artillery, but at the same time you was replenishing your own artillery. You guys was losing guns and everything. True Canadians, helping people, not even worrying about themselves. But you guys do need to get that artillery back. Yes. You guys need your weapons because most of y'all weapons and fighter jets are just out of date and they are very old, especially your ships. There's only one ship that could really stand a chance if it came down to war, but if it were to get blown up, it doesn't stand a chance. So does it really stand a chance? You see what I'm saying? Poilievre defunding the CBC Radio Canada. Poilievre banning supervised consumption sites. And Carney increasing funding to CBC. Wait. Defunding the CBC. Wait, Carney wants to increase the funding to CBC Radio Canada by $150 million annually? Wow. My goodness. Let's go ahead and take a look at the poll tracks now. So we got Mark Carney, who is a liberal, with a voting cast of 42.8% on an increase. Then we got Pierre Poilievre, who is a conservative, with casting of 39.2%. Then we got these other people towards the bottom. I actually just took a look at his speech today. It just came up on YouTube and I was a little curious. But then we have the other people who were running, the other candidates, who didn't really happen to do so well. But it's all right. It's okay. There will be plenty more opportunities to continue to run. But right now, it seems that Mark Carney is taking the seat. Yes, he is, for 2025. So let's go ahead and jump right into this video. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. Please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and turn all post notifications on so you don't miss another one of these reaction videos. I could not wait to react to this. I should have posted this video yesterday, but like I said, I was feeling down under the weather. I seen some of y'all comments. It was like, you know, we thought Strac was going to be posting this video today, but then he ended up posting this. Whoa, whoa. I mean, give me a break. Well, don't give me a break, actually, because I like when you guys spam my comment section and use that suggestion link as well. I am very, very grateful for that. But I wouldn't be able to give you guys the quality you deserved yesterday. That is why today is a new day, and we will be checking this video out. Oh, my goodness. So we got here Mark Carney's message to Trump after stunning election win. Trump does not like this right now. He's not feeling Mark right now. Oh my goodness.
As I've been warning for months, America wants our land, our resources, our water, our country.
Everybody in the back saying never.
But these are not idle threats. President Trump is trying to break us so that America can own us. That will never ever happen. We are once again at one of those hinge moments of history. Our old relationship with the United States, a relationship based on...
Wow. Our old relationship with the United States. So it's official, huh? We are officially enemies? Is that what I'm hearing? We are officially enemies? Oh, goodness.
Steadily increasing integration is over. The system of open global trade anchored by the United States, a system that Canada has relied on since the Second World War, a system that, while not perfect, has helped deliver prosperity for a country for decades, is over.
Oh.
These are tragedies, but it's also our new reality.
Yeah.
We are over the shock of the American betrayal, but we should never forget the lessons.
But you're going to take us forward.
We have to look out for ourselves, and above all, we have to take care of each other. And my message to every Canadian is this: no matter where you live, no matter what language you speak, no matter how you voted, I will always do my best to represent everyone who calls Canada home.
I mean,
breaking overnight this stunning political comeback thanks to and at the expense of President Trump. Canada's Liberal Party, led by Prime Minister Mark Carney, declared victory overnight despite being really left for dead several months ago. But then Donald Trump took office, targeted Canada with tariffs, and threatened to annex it as the 51st state.
America wants our land, our resources, our water, our country.
Why? Now that I'm really thinking about it, hearing it a second time, why do we really want your resources? Wouldn't it be better to just look? Okay. I know the saying, if you can't beat them, join them. But it's not like Canada could beat us. But at the same time, we might as well join them because it's not about win or lose. It's about being friends, being allies. We personally need Canada for the resources, yes. Why are we trying to just take over everything? That's the problem with America. We always trying to take over something. We want the land, we want the water, we want the minerals, we want everything. And it doesn't really make sense. Rather than us just being allies and sharing, for a lifetime, we have access to these goods, this oil, the minerals, everything he's mentioning. For a lifetime, rather than just going to war and fighting for it now. Now we are bickering. We are enemies now. It doesn't make any sense. You know, this is the way I think. I like to be friends with people. Look. I like to get along with people. And if it takes this, if it takes all of this to have access to Canada's goods, minerals, oils, land, water, I could keep on going. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It honestly isn't. So I'm just hoping that things get better towards the future. Although our relationship is permanently ruined and we could never recover from this. Our president, you know what? Us as a country, we can't recover from what our president has done and drug us into.
And we can't let them take advantage of the U.S. What I'd like to see, Canada become our 51st state. Canada only works as...
Who is Canada taking advantage of? We talking about Canada. Canada ain't taking advantage of nobody. We the ones doing that. Canada doesn't even have the fighting power to just run over us, to run over anybody. What are you talking about? It's a true bully.
It's a state. It doesn't. We don't need anything they have. If you look at a map, they drew an artificial line right through it between Canada and the U.S. If we make it in the United States, we don't need it to be made in Canada. We'll have the jobs. That's why Canada should be our 51st state. So when I say they should be a state, I mean that. I really mean that. Because we can't be expected to carry a country. I do like the
Okay, so his idea is Canada deserves to be the 51st state. They don't deserve to have their own independence as their own country. They deserve to be the 51st state of the United States of America, because Canada to Donald Trump is kind of helpless. Yes, they provide a lot of goods that could help us in other countries. Yes. But they're not really able to protect themselves in those goods, making them weak and vulnerable, basically. So Trump feels that if they could just join us, we have access to it. Plus, Canada will have our protection. Although, wait a minute. Canada has NATO's protection. He must be forgetting that. Canada has NATO's protection. So if they wanted to turn their backs away from us, like they already did, Mark Carney was traveling all around the world, meeting up with these other world leaders. Come on now. Just like how Trump was doing, showing him that Canada has that same power. They just wasn't pushing it.
Canada, right? It's a beautiful thing. I think we're going to have to keep it for the 51st state. I call him Governor Trudeau.
Right. How decisive was President Trump in the Canadian election? Our friend Jonathan Martin at Politico heard from Republican Congressman Don Bacon overnight. Yes, Republican Congressman. Bacon told him, quote, "The Liberals in Canada were losing big until our president kept mocking Canadians, our neighbors and close friends. He made Canadian Liberals great again." Let's get right to CNN's Paula Newton in Ottawa for this really election stunner. 4 months ago, no one would have predicted this.
Yeah. No one. I did.
And good morning, John. In fact, Donald Trump's first 100 days consequential here in Canada. John, this was so history-making that when you speak to pollsters, they talk about not having seen this kind of party resurrection in modern political history in almost any democracy around the world. Think about that. And that was because the man, Prime Minister Mark Carney, met the moment with what? His resume. He's not exactly the most charismatic campaigner, but Canadians put their faith in him in order to bargain, to negotiate with Donald Trump. And I want to talk about something else as well, something that will reverberate in many different countries right now going forward.
Meaning he was the right person for the job. Mark is the one that you guys feel more safe and comfortable with going head up with Donald Trump. I mean, it's fair. That's fair. How did you guys feel towards Poilievre? I mean, he's been holding that seat since 2004. Do you guys feel that he just wasn't doing enough? Or that, he was kind of freezing up in certain situations and wasn't able to handle the threats that Trump was actually sending towards Canada? Let me know in the comments, please. I'm going to try my best not to keep pausing, going on my rants.
They all face the Trump administration. Mark Carney harnessed that anger, that betrayal that Canadians felt every time the president spoke about a 51st state or Governor Trudeau, which of course was the man that Mark Carney took over from. He harnessed that. He stiffens spines, he talks about sacrifice, and he's getting Canadians ready for what will be a tough negotiation with the president. Listen.
When I sit down with President Trump, it will be to discuss the future economic and security relationship between two sovereign nations. And it will be with our full knowledge that we have many, many other options than the United States to build prosperity for all Canadians.
I just said that. They got options too.
Mark Carney,
and he proved that.
Calling this a hinge moment, right? That pivot, which he intends to execute now that he is Prime Minister. John, I want to make clear this was a close election in terms of the popular vote. Canada really splitting between the Liberals of Mark Carney and the Conservatives of Pierre Poilievre. That man did not manage to even win his seat just outside here in Ottawa. Some people called him too Trumpian, but he too is at historic highs in the popular vote. What does all that mean? It means Canada itself, stop me when this sounds familiar, is really leaning on two-party politics. They want strong leaders to face the kind of threat that is coming from the White House. And right now, Mark Carney says he is getting ready for negotiations, using the word, again, John, of sacrifice, preparing Canadians for what's to come. John?
Really
Exactly.
could have ripple effects all around the world in terms of what Donald Trump is trying to do. Paula Newton, great to see you this morning. Thank you very much.
So let's get more on the Canadian election now from Professor Michael Keating, Emeritus Professor of Politics at the University of Aberdeen and Honorary Professor at the University of Edinburgh. Appreciate you joining us. So Canada's Liberal Party is projected to win the federal election led by Mark Carney in a stunning political comeback. Votes are still being counted, but how do you expect this to land in the end?
It's not clear whether Carney will get an absolute majority, but will certainly form the next government because he's the biggest party. They're ahead in the popular vote. If he doesn't get a majority, he'll have to seek support from the smaller parties, most likely the New Democratic Party, which is a centre-left party, which has been doing very badly, but they may pick up half a dozen seats, and that might be critical to forming the next government.
Now, in his victory speech, Carney asked, and I'm quoting here, "Who's ready to stand up for Canada with me?" How much of this Liberal Party win was due to the Trump factor, with Donald Trump's trade war with Canada and, of course, his constant threats to make the country the 51st US state?
Oh, a great deal. Canadians are very proud of their independence. And they don't dislike the United States, but they're very keen to tell you that they are not Americans, they're not part of the United States. And that kind of language is going to produce a reaction. All the parties in Canada, Quebec nationalists included, had to say, no, we'll stand up for Canada. But Carney was the most effective in doing that because the Conservative leader, Pierre Poilievre, had been seen as having some affinities with Trump and as quite close to Trump. So Carney was the one who is in a better position to speak in defense of Canada. It should be said, however, the Conservative vote also went up. Both parties went up. And at the expense of the small parties, I mentioned the New Democratic Party. There's a Quebec Nationalist Party, the Bloc Québécois, who may get some seats in Parliament as well. So a win for Carney, but not an overwhelming win, because nevertheless it's remarkable because they were 25 points behind just a few months ago. I've never seen such a massive turnaround in such a short period of time in any democratic system.
Yes, of course. And Mark Carney is a Harvard-educated economist with a master's degree and doctorate from Oxford University. He's also a former governor of the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England. So how will he likely take on Donald Trump and his tariffs? And how will he prevent a recession in Canada?
Well, that's remarkable. He's an Oxford-educated banker. He's just the sort of people that the populists would target. That is quite remarkable. Hardly an ordinary man of the people. But nevertheless, he speaks with some authority. And at a time of uncertainty like this, people are looking for somebody who doesn't have political experience, but has a lot of credibility and has run two central banks. The challenges facing the country are enormous. Even without the threat from President Trump, there are problems with growth, problems with productivity, there are problems with inflation and the cost of living. And these are big problems, and Canada's dependence on energy is in some sense a strength, but it's also a weakness at a time when we're supposed to be transitioning to net zero. As far as Trump is concerned, this is a huge challenge. Carney has certainly been able to speak up for Canada and to criticize Trump very frankly in a way that some other leaders, such as the British leader, have not been able to. But he's got to deal with the United States. The United States takes 85% of Canada's trade. There's got to be some kind of deal. Otherwise, the economic consequences for Canada could be quite devastating.
Michael Keating, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Congratulations, Mark Carney, on taking the seat as the new Prime Minister of Canada for 2025. Congratulations. I mean, it was close. It was close. And for some time, I didn't think you'd win. I'm being honest, guys. Looking at the voting polls and the support from the Canadians over the time, I did not think that he had a chance of winning against Poilievre. But I guess Canada is ready to see something new and take a chance in the new Prime Minister of 2025. You know, they want to see who's able to go head up with Trump, especially against these threats, because these are threats that can't be taken lightly, especially the 51st state. I mean, that's crazy. I'm not even Canadian. I'm like, how dare you say that? That is violation. Like, you are violating at this point. You trying to take away our whole independence. We go to war for that. Countries will go to war for that. It's just Canada doesn't have enough fighting power to really do that against the United States of America. And I don't think NATO would really help with that, considering that they're not taking part in this. This has nothing to do with them. Although NATO tends to help out in desperate times of need. And they definitely help the weaker guys out. So Canada has support. Canada has multiple options. I don't know why our president thinks that Canada doesn't have many options. They have as many options as we do. Our president is flying around meeting with these world leaders, and so is Mark. I mean, we've seen the footage, a few videos in the past. We see the footage, meeting up with different world leaders, proving to Trump that we don't need you. We could turn our backs to the United States, and we could do our business elsewhere. Everybody, please let me know in the comment section how you guys felt towards this video and towards this election. And it's not really my business. It's not really my business. And I don't like asking personal questions like this. But if you feel comfortable, who did you have more faith in? Who do you feel more secure with as your PM for 2025? Mark or Poilievre? I'm not going to ask you who you voted for. That's not my business. That's the problem with Americans. They always want to be so open, talking about religion and who'd you vote for, this and that. Look, I have consideration, okay? This is not my business knowing who you voted for, but I would like to know your opinions on this election and these two PMs. Well, the current PM of Canada, Mark Carney, and Canada's previous PM since 2004, Pierre Poilievre. Wow, that sounds weird saying that. He really lost his seat. But I know you guys see a bright future. I see a bright future for Mark, and he is standing up. He is head-to-head, toe-to-toe with our president. He's kind of scaring me a little bit, you know? He's proving that Canada is not weak. Everybody, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and turn all post notifications on if you enjoyed this electoral video just as much as myself. Feel free to share this video and this channel to your friends and family members, whoever you feel may be interested in joining the family along on a daily basis to check out some of these intriguing, educational, fascinating videos. My goodness, fascinating videos. And feel free to spam my comment section and use that suggestion link down below in my description if you would like to recommend some more of these phenomenal videos for me, myself, to react to. And please, guys, please feel free to include your name if you are comfortable with me shouting you out. I am very thankful for all the recommendations I receive on a daily basis, and you guys keep me busy and educated. And I am very, very grateful for every single one of you. Honestly, if I could, I'd go out there right now in the public and I'll give a speech to all my supporters. Yeah. But we ain't that big yet. We ain't we ain't that big yet. But in the future, we will be. And over the time, I hope to keep on building such a great, amazing community who's willing to just learn and educate themselves as well as myself throughout this journey. It truly means a lot. Once again, I will catch you all in the next reaction video. Stay safe.